Good evening and welcome, ladies and our audience, to KZN Top Business Women. It is my honor and privilege to showcase these amazing ladies to you this evening. My name is Anneme Coeztee. I'm the founder and owner of a company called True Awakenings. I'm a behavioral specialist, master trainer of NLP, where we do executive coaching, business psychology, as well as certification trainings and corporate trainings. So it's my honor to introduce to you the ladies here this evening. And we're going to go through short introductions and a couple of questions just to introduce and showcase their unique personalities and skills and talent that we have right here on our doorstep in KZN. So without further ado, I'm going to ask our first lady to introduce herself to our audience. If I could ask Usha to unmute yourself and introduce yourself to us, please, Usha.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening to all the ladies. I'm Usha Jivan. I'm a 61-year-old single mom with 2 children. I have a son aged 35 and a daughter aged 33. Raising my children, although it was filled with quite a lot of challenges as a single parent when they were just 6 and 4, has been my greatest achievement to date. My son has gone on to become a investment banker and a venture capitalist across Africa. And my daughter is a counseling psychologist who practices in Johannesburg. I studied law. And after completing my articles of clerkship, I was in legal practice for about 4 years. I practiced both in Port Elizabeth as well as in Durban. And I was involved a lot during the 4 years of practice in human rights work, especially in Port Elizabeth. This was a long time ago where political risings were very, very rife. So I became involved in that as well. In 1994, after completing 4 years of practicing law, I was offered a lecturing position at the University of Durban-Westville. I moved back to Durban and I lectured, and my lecturing career was a long span of about 16 years. I lectured at UKZN and Howard College and on various subjects in law, my favorite of which was family law. I was always very passionate about that. I also obtained my master's degree in 1997. And during this time, I was also very involved in assisting women specifically. I was involved in mediations. I did divorce mediation courses as well as industrial mediation. And I was also involved in quite a few of the divorce cases that took place. And thereafter, an opportunity was presented to me around 2007, the end of 2006. I had taken a 1-year sabbatical leave from university to pursue a PhD in law. And when this opportunity came up, I was quite interested. So I went and joined the first meeting. And this was something that was very new in South Africa. And this is what we call BBBE verification, broad-based Black economic empowerment. And it fitted in very well with me because I was really always very passionate about transformation and also women's rights and uplifting women. So I decided to resign and to start this business with 3 other gentlemen. I was the only female. And by 2011 sometime, I became the managing director of BEE Score. Today, I am the sole shareholder and managing director of BEE Score, and we are a company which verifies BEE compliance of businesses nationally. Many of our clients are from Johannesburg and Durban, and I would like to say that my all-star Black female managed business has gone on to become a BEE verification partner of choice for many, many entities. We have a huge list of clients over the years, at least about 200 to 300. And we also audit clients from all walks of life, from all different industries. And we've audited multinationals, public entities, And what's interesting is that the very, very first client that we've had since 2007 is still a client as of today. So I think that's something that we're very proud of.
That's amazing, Usha. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's quite the journey. And I love that you're passionate about transformation. I want to know, as a top businesswoman, how would you like to be remembered in your field by future generations of entrepreneurs?
I think that it's going to be about the contribution that we have made as a company, apart from the fact that we women managed and 90% made up of Black women. But I think that the contributions that I have personally made together with my co-directors in the earlier years was this thing about educating people. People were not educated about BEE. So I myself spent a lot of time doing presentations both in Johannesburg and in Durban. I still continue to do that. And because I was an educator for so many years as well, I spend a lot of time educating people, in some cases at no charge as well. Because I think that people need to understand the meaning, but not only the meaning, but the impact that transformation has for our country. As we all know, we have a huge unemployment rate as well. And as a small, medium-sized SME business, I think that SMEs are critical and they play a vital role in creating employment. And the reason I say that also is that creating employment falls under one of the elements on the BEE scorecard, where small businesses are encouraged to onboard and to take on new people and train them and employ them. So for me, the whole issue about employment and the unemployment and the fact that that's actually changing slowly, but surely. So I think that me as a person and my company as well as an organization are well recognized. We might be a small company, but we have a huge client base and we are recognized in the industry because I've also contributed quite a lot into the industry outside of my business.
Might be a small business, but it sounds like you pack a big punch. So thank you very much for what you do in that field of transformation, because absolutely the unemployment rate is critical. And the more educated we are and the better we understand it, the more impact we can make together in turning that around for all of us in this country. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to ask Deashini to introduce herself to us. Did I get it right?
Yes, you got it right.
Fabulous. So even blondes can learn. Thank you so much. Introduce yourself to our audience and what it is that you do for Top Businesswomen.
Good evening, Anneme and all you lovely ladies. My name is Deashini Moonsamy, and I'm the director of Hydrotool Industrial Solutions based in Port Shepstone. I have been in industry for 28 years. My journey began in 1995 in the transport sector. In 2009, we took a bold step and opened Hydrotool Industrial Solutions. And due to work constraints, I was left to run Hydrotool by myself. Back then, my boys were 13 and 7 years old, so taking on a new venture was quite challenging for me. I still, till this day, don't regret that. Hydrotool specializes in industrial filtration, lubrication, workshop equipment, and all hydraulic components. Our products we supply to the mining, construction, transportation, and the automotive sectors. Besides the industry, we are deeply involved in the TVET colleges and trade schools where we supply workshop equipment so that they could use that to incorporate in their curriculum syllabus. And once they complete their theoretical syllabus, we provide apprenticeship programs, and these programs offer hands-on and practical knowledge. We've also been successful in doing other programs. We also do driver training programs where we teach people how to drive long distance and heavy duty vehicles. I did my first driver training lesson in 1996. So yes, it is achievable. Women can drive, and you know, we just have to put ourselves out there and be brave enough to do it. In addition to owning Hydrotool, we also own Morgan's Transport, and Morgan's Transport actually transports specialized products. We also have Caliper Engineering, and they sell brake calipers and refurbished calipers. We run our in-house workshops. We have an industrial wheel alignment company where we do wheel alignment for heavy-duty vehicles. We also have T-Tires, and where we supply tires to the automotive and off-road vehicle equipment. I really enjoy being in industry. It's very intense. It's very challenging. It's not monotonous. And every day you go to work having a problem or a very unusual problem to solve. So that's me. My
Thank
motto.
you for sharing that.
My motto in my industry, what I preach to my staff is think fast and work smart. And I always tell them, build and learn quickly so that it avoids me wasting and spending time on costly maintenance and costly mistakes. So that's me.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. Yeah, you certainly sound like it. That is an industry that keeps you on your toes and out of mischief because it keeps you busy. I'm more curious about, you know, when you took on this challenge with your kids being at the ages that they were. I think you said 13 and 7 at the time. What core values did you have to dig in as a woman to help you through those challenges and to take on that challenge regardless of your kids being that age? And how did you navigate this mom versus work guilt process?
Oh, you know, it was extremely challenging for me. I was not only running Hydrotool at that time. I was a board member at their private school. So, you know, trying to navigate everything and also trying to do pro bono work. It was really, but I just remained resilient. I stayed focused. You know, at that time, even at that time, my children were doing competitive karate. So I was doing all this in one go. But, you know, it was, I just became their role model, you know. They looked up to me, and, you know, I still feel that I had to adapt. I found by me focusing on different aspects, I had to become very resilient, and it took a lot of time off me. But living in Port Shepstone, you know, it's such a small town. You have to get yourself actively involved and be actively involved so that, you know, you don't miss I came from Durban. So you don't actually miss what's really going on in Durban. Yes, so I would say, yes, that's it.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure that resilience is something that your kids could install in themselves by just observing you going through that process. So thank you for sharing that with us. I'd like to ask Bashini to introduce herself to our audience up next. So please unmute yourself. And for the rest of the ladies, if you could mute yourself. Bashini, over to you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bashini, better known to most as Bash. I think it's the easy way out because there's lots of variations of my name out there. Thank Thank you to KZN Top Business team for giving us women the opportunity to shine. It's certainly been a treat to meet such and so many wonderfully resilient game changers in KZN. And yeah, thank you, Anneme, for the introduction. I'm really happy to be here today. Who am I? I'm a mom to Kim, Isabella, and my little ginger Buttons. I'm a wife, a daughter, a friend, an ear and shoulder to anyone in need, and a self-confessed shopaholic. I'm just a young girl from Durban that grew up in a shipping family. Not the most glamorous career choice, but certainly one that commands passion, drive, commitment, hard work, resilience, nerves of steel, and an overall zest for international trade. Dynamic Shipping Services is my last-born baby. I own and manage what I would call a freight management company like no other. I'm a firm believer in God's time and the alignment of your stars and all that mushy stuff. In 2019, I noticed a major gap in the Durban market for a timber packing facility. Equipped with the knowledge I had gained on the commodity, shipping, and logistics, I knew that I possessed all the qualities that would equip me to open and run and a complete logistics solution for our timber export markets. On the 18th of February, 2020, we received our very first timber load for export packing. After 20 long years in corporate logistics, I finally decided, you know what, the time has come. I think I'm fully equipped and I'm confident in what I can put out to the market. So yeah, on the 18th of February, we received our first load for timber exporting. We practically had, I think, 30 minutes to find a yard, find equipment, get trucks, load 10 containers for a stack that was closing at 0600 the next morning. And let me tell you, that was a rude awakening to entrepreneurship. I am proud, however, to say we pulled it off. And from that day, I knew it was basically onwards and upwards. And the only direction for me was upwards. Throughout my career, I've always placed a greater emphasis on people. And I'm a firm believer that people should always be at the forefront of everything that you do. If you handle people with care, integrity, communication, and collaborate with them, you'll always achieve jointly fruitful results. Being a very customer-centric person, my aim was to build a company that employs staff that live by these values as well. They too should place people at the forefront at everything that they embark on. Achieving success and ticking off goals are of paramount importance to me because I am an achiever and I believe that you need to have goals in order to progress in life, but it will never take precedence over people. We achieve and get to where we are the right way, and I believe that's the DSS way. So yeah, that's us in a nutshell, and very proud of the little baby that I've grown. We're 3.5 years old, but I can say that we are a major player in our space at this point. Proud to say in our last financial year, we shipped 6,800 TEU, which is a 20-foot container equivalent. So all those containers and menacing containers on trucks you see on the road, we ship those out into India, China, and the rest of the world. Yeah.
So for the confessed shopaholic, definitely the earrings are a giveaway. And for the when do you get time for all of that when you're so busy building this empire? How do you keep work-life balance?
When you love something, you find the time. And I love shopping. So I definitely find the time. You know, I won't say it was easy. The upside is that I absolutely love what I do. I did grow up in a shipping family. My dad worked for many years alongside the docks of Maiden Wharf. So on Saturdays, I would go with him to the wharf and, you know, watch them load these massive sappy reels on containers. I wouldn't say it was a dream of mine to work in logistics. It's not glamorous. It's no young girl's dream. But I'd say shipping is in my blood. It was something that really interested me. And, you know, I spent a lot of time working through all the facets of our industry that's got me to the position now where I feel totally comfortable running it. And yes, work-life balance is very important. So I've I've got 2 kids and a little very needy cat. So, my oldest is 21, although she acts like the 8-year-old, and the 8-year-old acts like a 30-year-old. So my life is, pretty much very full, and work-life balance is important to me. Resilience and basically learning to stand your ground. And what I've learned in especially the last year, is I need to empower people so that I can work on the business and not in the business, which is something that we get so wrong so often. And that's allowed me to have a bit of a better work-life balance at the moment. And you just got to persevere and push on.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that is something every entrepreneur can relate to, working on the business versus in the business. I think when you start, you're so busy working in the business, and then you realize at some stage that this is the urgent stuff, and it always stays urgent when you're there. And somewhere along the line, we need to start doing the important stuff, and that's to work on the business. Otherwise, we stay in the same place all the time. Bashi, it's lovely to meet with you. Let me know when you're ready for a shopping spree, and we'll book that trip, because I'm due for one.
Absolutely. I will be there. I will make time.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing insights into your world with us. Next up, I'd like to ask Velo to please unmute yourself and introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you so much, Annemarie, and good evening, lovely ladies, and really so proud to be part of this platform. I am Velo Govender. I am married for 27 years this year to an incredible man, Ricky, and we have 2 amazing children. Deashini, my daughter, who is 25 and is a civil engineer and is in Cape Town, and my son, Mishika, who just turned 21 and is a 3rd-year civil engineering student at KZN. I'm a social worker by profession. Before actually stepping into the entrepreneurial world, I served in the nonprofit sector for 15 years, where I worked with the elderly and with vulnerable and orphan children, and I was director of a children's home for 8 years. And then I went into academics and lectured for 8 years at the University of KwaZulu-Natal and UNISA. I presently wear 2 hats. I am an individual and family therapist and the marketing and HR executive for my husband's business, which is JRV Spares, which is a construction spares company, and we have just celebrated our 20 years in business. I started my own practice, private practice, 2 years ago because of a life-changing experience. So 6 years ago, while I was lecturing at KZN, and just received my ethical clearance to commence with my PhD, which was in 2017, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor and underwent 2 head operations, and faced post-operative complications, which included facial nerve damages, loss of speech, loss of vision in one eye, and short-term memory loss. After 1.5 years of rehabilitation, I believed God had given me a second chance of life for a reason. And that is when I decided to open up my own private practice, where I specialize in offering counseling to those diagnosed with critical illness or undergoing any types of trauma. I believed at that point, that I was able to offer people from a personal and professional capacity, because I myself know what it's like to have been in hospital for 6 months. I know what it's like to have your hair shaven all off. I know what it's like to walk away without even having to clear your office desk and never returning back to work. Furthermore, because of my academic background, I also offer support to students as well as their parents. What I found was when I was at UKZN, we found that the highest failure rate in first years was because students battle with the transition from school to university. So I work a lot with students and parents in trying to prepare them as well. I also offer training programs to women on how to attain financial stability and good governance, as I believe that knowledge and skills are invaluable assets. And I encourage young women to seize every opportunity and pursue their goals with unwavering determination. In 2021, I decided to restart my PhD. I know that sounds crazy after 2 head operations. And I was informed by UKZN that I only have actually 1 year left, as I would need to reapply for ethical clearance. So my supervisor looked at my research and immediately said, impossible, with all that I did in 2017, everything's outdated and I will need to restart from scratch. And I looked at it and I remember saying to my husband and to the children, give me this year. It was actually in 2021, and I said, give me this year for myself. And, between trying to balance the practice, working the business, maintaining the household with Deashini in her final year and my son in matric, I actually took it on again. Heart, sweat, and tears, literally tears, with all my medical challenges, through a lot of dedication, commitment, and resilience, I was able to finally complete the PhD journey. 10 chapters in 1.5 years, yes, and graduated in May this year. It really surely was a moment of glory. I'm still very passionate about the NGO sector, and together with JRB Spares, we continue to support various NGOs, and I'm very involved with the autistic community. I'm also currently the chairperson of the largest NGO in KZN, the Ubuntu Community Chest, where we allocate funds to over 105 nonprofit organizations. So I love what I do, as I believe I'm able to make a positive impact in people's lives, and I still continue doing that. So yeah, thank you. That's basically what I'm about.
Yeah, you make it sound like you're saying, oh, that's just me, but that's a
No.
lot. That's amazing. Well done. Congratulations on completing your PhD.
Thank
I
you.
would like to know, what are the core values that, when you go through those challenges, you have to really dig deep into yourself to pull up from those big challenges. What do you think were the core values that got you up and going again and got you to tackle that PhD?
I think it comes back to what is your passion for life. You look at your life and what it is that you want, because you have to reassess. It comes back to you as an individual. And at that point, at 51 years, you ask yourself, do you really need this? And that was the question from everybody else. Why do you want this? You're not going to go back into academics. You don't want to do research. It was very personal at that point. Yes, the doctor title does sound nice, I'm going to admit. But again, and then it shows a lot of, endurance, and it's about empowerment. And for me, it was about, and I think with the practice as well, I think it was at that point, I wanted to bring that out as well, in terms of how you can go about empowering people as well. And I think it was taking all that together and bringing that out. Yeah.
Thank you. And so what do you believe some qualities are that successful businesswomen should embody in today's business world?
Hard work, plan, hard work, never give up. The reality is that there will always be challenges. That is the true nature. There will always be challenges, grit, but we have to take it on. We have to be bold. We have to find ways. And I think if we plan strategically, I recently listening to so much, one of the things that I do is working with women in terms of the digital technology. So much has come along. And I think if we use what is currently in and we network accordingly, we'll be able to achieve so much more. And ask for help. Ask for help. One thing I found is throughout my journey as well, academically as well as my practice, is that I had an academic mentor that if it wasn't for that, I would never have reached the milestone that I did, because I had somebody that whenever I was in doubt, I was able to call, I was able to say, please assist with this, please can you read, please can you give feedback. So my thing to anyone out there, no matter how much of money you have, no matter how educated you may have, no matter how old you are, ask for help. It will make such a difference in your life. Yeah.
Great advice. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing your journey. And we wish you well in your future endeavors, because you sound like you are only getting warmed up and nowhere near. So
planning for retirement. Thank you so much.
All right, next up, I'd like to ask Mishika to introduce herself to our audience, please. Mishika, if you could unmute yourself and put your video on.
Good evening, ladies. My name is Nosihle. Looking beautiful. I love your earring, Ash. Yes, my name is Nosihle Dlamini, a mother of...
Nosihle, sorry, I'm going to stop you there. Ask for Mishika.
Oh, okay.
My apologies.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Anneme. Good evening, ladies. My name is Meshika David, and I come from corporate background initially. I've been 12 years in corporate, and at some point I decided to join my husband, who is currently my business partner, in the franchising industry. And from there, I developed an absolute passion for the industry itself. And we grew our network, and I facilitated the growth in the network as well, from 1 store to 12 stores in that. Over the past 4 years, and I think a lot of people would understand that the landscape and the arena of business has just been difficult. We went from COVID, being in KZN, from COVID into civil unrest, from civil unrest into floods. This year, because eThekwini was now exempt last year from the load shedding, we've been hit up to level 8 load shedding as well. So that has been a significant journey. And whilst we learn to embrace the challenges in that, we've also achieved a few victories in there. And yeah, I believe that some significant lessons that I have learned is that there's quite a difference between the improbable and the impossible. And oftentimes we may look at a challenge and think impossible, not understanding that it actually probably is improbable. But with improbability, there's still a chance. And as long as you got a chance, you go for it with everything you've got. I've seen that there's always a cosmos in the chaos. And that when we confronted with the chaos, we don't see it because we're looking at things at a macro level. Because when we move away from certainty, the more chaotic things do become. But if you can step back and take simple decisions and look at things in a simple view, and we can bring some stability to what we're looking at and some certainty in our minds, we can easier navigate through those challenges as well. I've learned to embrace fear because I can't separate fear from failure, because the most thing that we're afraid of is actually the failing. And once I've learned to embrace failure as much as I've embraced my success, is that where I have seen an absolute catapult into greater success. Because truth is, I've learned more from failure than I've ever learned from my successes. And the moment I've learned to embrace that, I've just immediately increased my own intelligence, because with every failure came a significant learning and actually a leap into the next stage or the next phase, which I needed to be. I live by the motto that silence is golden, that don't speak unless it is to improve the silence. Knowledge is power. So ensure that whichever arena that you're actually going into, is that you have the necessary skill to do it. Take the time to skill yourself, because then you're putting yourself in a position of power. And
that's amazing, Mashika. You know, in terms of the concept of failure, I like to reframe it in when I work with my clients to say there's no such thing as failure, there's only ever feedback. Right. Yes. So you put out a strategy, you try something, and then you get feedback. And like you said, your most of your answers are there. You know, if you ask for successful business gurus how to be successful, they'll say, go fail fast, hard, and quick, because all your solutions are there. So that's that's such a very powerful strategy to grab hold of, you know, to actually walk into that concept of failure and say, hey, how do I empower myself here? So how do you stay motivated and invigorated when you bump into those walls within yourself?
Within myself, I think it's based on the knowledge of principle. Because if we can stick to the knowledge of principle rather than feelings, then it doesn't matter what the situation is or what you're faced with. Let me give you an example. We all have those days where it hits hard and you don't feel like getting up. But if you don't feel like getting up, at the end of your feelings is actually nothing. The outcome is zero. But if you're driven by a principle of get up and show up regardless, And trust me that, your mind and your soul actually catches up. If you get up, show up, dress up, and just start going, because momentum's everything. Even if you feel initially like you don't know what you're doing, the dots begin to connect and you will move forward. But if you're going to stay in that place of devastation, again, the outcome is nothing. But at the end of principle, there is always but an outcome. So I choose to embrace any situation, whatever the challenge is, on a basis of a strong knowledge of principle.
Thank you so much. It's such wise words for all those entrepreneurs out there, up and coming, ready to take on this challenge that you ladies have already taken on. So thank you for sharing that. Next up, I would like to ask Malebo to please introduce yourself and your business to our audience.
Good evening, Anneme, and thank you to KZN Top Business for the opportunity. And congratulations to all the ladies. I've been following all the webinars, really inspiring stories, and I'm really happy to be here. So I'm Malebo Mohale. I'm born and bred from Limpopo. I have a 10-year-old son. And yeah, so currently I'm working at Conlog as an industrial engineering manager. So I'm responsible for lean principles. So I'm currently working on a lean deployment with the organization, where I am unpacking the strategy and driving those initiatives in terms of cost saving, in terms of lean efficiency, productivity, and people engagement. So yeah, so that supports our business in terms of meeting all our customer requirements and making sure that we stay in the business and it is sustainable. Yeah, and we can only do that through people. And that means my interest must always revolve around people development. And in that space as well, I found myself really enjoying to help people outside of my work time and yeah, profession. So I do a lot of youth development initiatives where I work with young adults or the graduates, so to say, in helping them navigate in terms of choosing the right choices and helping them also with their CV revamps. I do that in my spare time, and I really enjoy, when someone says thank you and it has made a difference in their life. And that is where I think I have now aligned my passion, not only with industrial engineering, but also in terms of our economical requirements. We need people to be sustained, to be mentally stable, to be independent. And for me, that is really important in ensuring that we continuously share knowledge. So in so saying that, I recently registered an NPC, which actually honors my late mom as well, and the continuity of the work that I do. The combination.
Malebo, can you hear us? Your screen is frozen.
Combination of our names, focal point, and have a self-realization and be, yeah, in a nutshell, that's who I am. And yeah, I'm really excited about this journey and the opportunity to be here.
Thank you so much. I wanted to ask you, you're so passionate about helping others and inspiring them and empowering them. How do you reinvent yourself in a constantly evolving business world?
Sure. So yeah, I think to answer that, my choices of what I studied as well speaks volume, because I started as an industrial engineer. I studied that in an MMU, and then I continued to learn project management. And in 2014, I started my Lean Six Sigma journey. And I'm currently, so in 2020, then I did my black belt, and now I'm currently doing my master black belt. Also, I got a scholarship where I'm studying Master of International Management, specializing in big data. So I'm currently doing these two master courses, and I don't know how I'm doing it, but I think that is what makes me different in terms of I'm always curious. I always enjoy learning, and I attend a lot of workshops or engagements so that I can network and learn from other people. So in so doing, it helps me to actually empower other people, because there's always a flow of knowledge and understanding, and meeting different people in the industry actually triggers different things in your brain that you're like, oh, I didn't know about that. And then you become more curious and you want to learn more. So that is how I actually stay afloat in terms of, making sure that I keep the knowledge, live, and I evolve with the time, and I learn from other people. That is, for me, very important.
Well done. Thank you so much, and good luck to anyone that bumps into you while you're doing your black belt. So next up, I'd like to ask Kashnee to introduce. Kashnee, can you please introduce yourself to the panel of ladies here and to our audience listening?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kashnee Sewnarain. I am a wife, a daughter, the best sister, and an incredible aunt. I also have a passion or a love for dogs. So I have 3 beautiful dogs, and they sort of take up most of my life or personal time. I'm a qualified chartered accountant. I have just under 19 years worth of experience in public sector, being government. It's been quite an exciting journey. From the first day that I started my articles, I was exposed to public sector and I fell in love with it. So I really do have a passion for for government, and to be able to make a difference to government. I'm passionate about training and knowledge empowerment. And every day that I wake up, it's a journey in terms of how we can make our clients do better. Having worked in both provincial and local government level, around this time in 2018, I made the decision that I would like to establish my own business, where the business is called Inspired Financial Management Solutions. And by its very name, it's to inspire our government officials to do better, and better financial management, better service delivery to our communities, better budgeting, and just all around audit improvements and making that journey much better to help them. So I resigned, I took a leap of faith, and I opened my own business, which I thought was going to be just me. And I really did think that I would be more like a freelance consultant, etc. But the journey in the last 5 years has been completely incredible. We now employ 11 people, and we have clients that we support throughout the country in government. And we help them grow, we help them train. We've trained over 400 officials as a company officially, to do better and to be able to prepare recons, budgeting, accounting, financial management, and actually improving audit opinions and all around, turn around the entire financial management and service delivery impact to our communities. Of the 11 people we have, 8 of them are female, which I'm particularly proud of, that we're able to promote that and encourage people, young ladies, to actually pursue their career. A chartered accountancy career was never my choice. It was my parents' choice, to be honest. I wanted to do everything else except chartered accountancy. But because my accounting teacher told my parents that this would be the right path for me, my parents were not listening to any of my passions at that stage. And yes, it has taken a surprise for me. I also, when in my journey to become a CA, I didn't always get it right. In fact, it's actually quite surprising that I qualified, because around after completing my degree, I started working to repay a loan back to the bank. And I tried to do my honors part-time and work balance was very difficult. especially when you're doing your training or early years of your career. So thereafter, my former boss encouraged me to go back. I was newly married at 32 years old. I took the journey to go back to my studies. And at that stage, my degree was more than 3 years old. So UNISA actually indicated to me that I needed to do third year again, because the rules were that you had to have your degree within a 3-year period to do honors. So here I was doing my third year again at 32 years old in a class of possibly around 20s, 22s, 2-year-olds. And then I completed my honors. At that stage, UNISA offered it part-time as well over a 2-year period. And then I wrote my board exams. So I actually qualified as a CA at 36 years old. And there's so many women out there that I know who really have given up on their journey. They've done their articles, they've got their degree, they've not pursued it any further because they think that they're too old, or they think that it's never going to happen for them. But really, it's one of the things that I do believe. Studying is the way that we need to go as a country if we want to improve it. We need skills, we need qualified people in this country. And the best way to do that is through education. And that's definitely, I would encourage them to not give up and to go for it. We're also very proud that we are a company that's able to do government work all above board, and with integrity and honesty. And I think that for me has been a remarkable achievement for us to be able to walk away from contracts where we feel that it's not, something's wrong with this, it's untoward. And yeah, so today we actually got awarded our first national contract. So we're quite excited about that. And it's been a journey that we look forward to. And my goal is actually to just impact local government every day, to make change, to continue doing what we're doing. We've also been involved in systems implementation, and it's been quite exciting, working with service providers to implement systems and to get their financial management processes right, so that municipalities can actually transact better and have an improved outcome at the end of the day. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Wow, it is, if we look at the mammoth task that you're taking on of educating and going into government, and the bottom line is we're either part of the solution or we're part of the problem. So thank you for being part of the solution. And that's so what I want to ask you, because I had a couple of ideas of asking you questions and you've pretty much answered them in your introduction. So I want to ask you, how do you navigate risk? And what is one of the biggest risks that you've taken that's paid off beautifully for you?
Yeah, so I think risk for me, doing business with government every day is a risk. So you can't really run away from it. So, I mean, obviously for us, it's government does take a long time to pay. So that's a risk on its own, because you've got staff, you've got salaries that you need to meet. But also when we look at tenders, when we look at quotations and we put in our bid, we base it on the fact that we need to be awarded based on integrity, honesty, and our skills level. So we've had 1 or 2 instances where we have been approached as a company, and we've immediately said no. We've even withdrawn ourselves from the whole bidding process when we needed to. Which I think has been the way forward for us. And to be honest with you, there are so many good people I meet every day in government. It's such a eye-opener. You don't see this because they're never showcased. You always see the bad and the worst in the newspaper about this official or that official. But actually, I see hundreds of people in a year that really want to make a difference in government every day, that get to work, that really want to do things better, that understand better, that ask the right questions, that really do say no and want to change government. And I think for me, that really is it. My parents for me have given me this incredible foundation of integrity and honesty. They've built me from scratch, where you wouldn't even steal a sweet. You would be in real serious trouble. And that's really molded us into who we are. And my dad actually is one of people that I deal with risk a lot with. He's my sounding board. He's the person I go to, and he's my biggest critic. He will give me 101 reasons why it wouldn't work. And that's really helped mold me and shape me to be able to say, no, Dad, I'm actually going to make this work. but thank you. I'm going to make sure those things don't happen. so that's
amazing.
Really,
That's amazing. You are part of the change that we need to see in the world. So thank you for your contribution there and your commitment. We appreciate that, and for your introduction. Next up, I'm going to ask Zama. Will you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Yes, absolutely. Can you hear me fine?
Yes.
Okay, great. I am Zama Khanyile. By qualification, I am a chemical engineer, a product of UKZN Howard College. I am currently the research and development manager for one of the leading textile or technical textile manufacturers in South Africa. And what we do is offer products and solutions to protect and improve the quality of life. So this will include things like filter material that will stop certain pollutants from industry from getting into our environment, our atmosphere. It'll include medical products, safety shoe linings, workwear or protective workwear, and the likes. My role in the company, which I've worked for 11 years now, by the way, I've never worked anywhere else. So I oversee all the product design and development projects for Envirotech. To give you an idea, I have one product that I'm particularly proud of, and that is a high temperature, high efficiency filter that no one else in Africa can make. I won't give you the details for obvious reasons, but I'm very proud of that product. I'm also responsible for product optimization. So not only should we offer products that are fit for purpose, but I'm always looking at new ways to offer them at more competitive rates to our clients. I'm also involved in process optimization projects, including CapEx projects. And to give an idea, again, in the past 5 years, we've been able to improve our output in terms of tonnage per month by just over 30%. I was the R&D and technical sign-off in those projects. Other than that, I offer technical support to the various manufacturing divisions within Envirotech. So day-to-day, troubleshooting, continuous improvement, so that we always get the right quality to the customers. And yeah, due to the technical nature of our business, I still liaise quite a bit with supply chain, from a procurement of raw materials point of view, our customer-facing salespeople. I liaise quite a bit with quality assurance, and like I mentioned, with operations. That's me in a nutshell.
Thank you, Zama. I'm very curious, who was one of your biggest role models or mentors, and what was the biggest impact that they made for you in your career?
Oh, wow. Okay, as soon as I joined the company, I was under the mentorship of a professional mechanical engineer, that is Warren Sachs, who is now the group COO. He really took me in. He exposed me to a lot of the engineering projects that were going on, not only within Envirotech, but the other bio group divisions as well. So I got a lot of exposure, not just with technical textiles, but engineering projects, electrical projects, anything engineering related. I got some exposure to. And one of the things he taught me very early on was that, our work is obviously technical, but the biggest part, or what we need to pay the most attention to, is people. You have to make sure you have the right people, you engage the right people, you take care of your people, and not only internally, but externally as well. Make sure that you have access to the right information, the right networks, the right people, the right resources. Another mentor that I must mention is my current boss, that is the MD of Envirotech, who really, really challenged me So when he joined the company, I was still pretty much viewed as a student. And through him pushing me and, getting me to contribute in the running of the business, I'm now a senior manager in the business. And I really appreciate how he always, motivates me to never make assumptions and always strive for making data-driven decisions. And it's made a really big difference.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Zama. It's lovely to always tap into where does some of that inspiration come from, and just to be reminded of that. So thank you for sharing that with us. And next up, I'd like to ask Priya to unmute yourself, Priya, and please introduce yourself to our audience here tonight.
Good evening, Anneme and fellow panelists. It's quite inspiring listening to everyone's stories and their journeys, and it's great to know that there are that many women out there who are doing great things. My name is Priya Govind. I am a chartered accountant and currently the Chief Financial Officer of Sumitomo Rubber South Africa. I'm still wearing our uniform. I just got back from the factory in Ladysmith. Our head office is in Durban, and we manufacture Dunlop tires. So Dunlop has a long history in the country, and in fact, our Ladysmith plant celebrated 50 years of manufacturing in the province, which has been a great source of joy for us. At that, we had an anniversary celebration this month, and our president announced a further 1.7 billion rand investment into the plant. So, it's really great to see manufacturing continuing to grow and thrive in our country. Prior to my time at Sumitomo, I spent just under 6 years at a company called Smith's Manufacturing, also as a CFO there. So I've had about 7 years in the role across 2 companies in the automotive sector. And one of the things I'm passionate about is seeing manufacturing grow, because I think that for our economy to prosper and for us to create jobs, we actually need to grow the manufacturing sector. And, there's a real multiplier effect when you have a manufacturing company. Like we've seen in Ladysmith, you have a manufacturer, and then you have all of this industry around it. You've got services, you've got tourism, you've got restaurants. So we really need, I believe, to pay attention to manufacturing and grow manufacturing. And as a result of my passion in the sector, I actually completed a manufacturing-focused MBA, which I took on at the age of 40 with 2 young kids. I think at the time my daughter was 5 and my son was 7, and I thought it was a good idea to start an MBA on top of being a financial director. So, that for me was really pursuing a passion of wanting to grow my own understanding and developing a skill set as a more well-rounded leader in the sector. And I completed that in 2022, so also in the midst of managing COVID and the impact of the riots, etc., that affected us in the last few years in KZN. And I think, for me, what drives me every day, even with all of the various challenges that we face, is that we owe our kids and the next generation a responsibility to take care of what we have and to grow what we have, so that there is just more for everybody to participate in. So yeah, that's basically my story from a professional perspective. I've got, like I've said, I've got 2 young kids. You might hear 1 or 2 of them in the background. I have asked them to behave, but I'm not sure if they will. My son is 12, my daughter is now 10. I'm married. My husband is also he also works. He's a professional working at KPMG. So between us, we use our combined resources to make sure that we take care of everything on the home front and the work front, and keep the crystal balls in the air. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Priya. I wanted to find out a little bit. I'm glad you mentioned your kids and started getting into some of the personal stuff. It's such a beautiful business portfolio. But tell me, how do your kids inspire you that you can tackle all these MBA at their age? How did your kids inspire you to continue to chase in the working environment and be a mom?
Initially it was tough. When I had my son, I was 32 at the time, and I thought, I had to give something up in order to, be, the best version of a mom. And I remember at the time, my dad said to me, Priya, what are you going to do when he turns 18? If you give all of this up. At the time I was a chartered accountant, I was a senior manager at PwC, an audit firm, and working my way up in my career. And when he said that, it was a bit of a eye opener that your life doesn't suddenly, all other aspects of your life shouldn't come to an end simply because you now have this new title of mother. So it was quite refreshing to hear from a man and my dad sort of encouraging me to try and keep both sides going. And, initially it was more just trying to stay afloat. And then as they started growing and I started seeing the type of children they were becoming, confident and questioning and curious and, still loving and caring. And I could see that, me being a working mom was not doing any damage, sometimes society can create this perception that if you're not at home 24/7, like you're going to do something really bad to your children. So I think just seeing that they were developing and growing and thriving just kept inspiring me that I can keep going and keep doing this. And getting into the MBA, I felt my kids were at an age where they could understand. I had help. At the time, I had 2 domestic workers. I'm not ashamed to admit I had a lot of help at the time. And still having the support of my parents, my husband, my friends, people who just encouraged me to keep going, even when I did want to give up, which I did initially when I took the MBA on. I thought I could do it. And then when I had a confidence crisis, I needed to recharge. And I remember my parents saying, we'll be here, whatever you need, we'll support you. And just knowing that they were there. So, now that they are older, I can see that they've got pride in their mother. And that gives me joy that, my children are proud of me and, they understand what I do. Although recently my son did tell someone that I work in a factory, which is great because, it's them just seeing that their mom is working. It's not about your title and it's not about exactly what you do, but the fact that you're doing something outside of the home and making a contribution, the fact that they respect and appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, because we know the kids don't do what we tell them to do, they do what we do. So at least you're being that example
exactly
for them. And then second to that, having the support is it does take a village, right? It's not just always on one person's shoulders. So, but well done, Priya, for all your achievements. We look forward to meeting further along the journey of this KZN Top Business Women, and best of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Next up, I'd like to ask Nosihle to introduce yourself. Nosihle, if you can unmute yourself again and introduce yourself to the audience, please.
Okay, the right person this time. Okay.
It is your turn this time.
Yeah, typical me, always jumping ahead of whatever should not be. Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. As you just said, my name is Nosihle Dlamini, a mother of 2 boys. One is 3, going on 30 because he thinks he's just that person. So I'm a wife and a daughter, and yeah, just all around super bubbly and extroverted person who becomes a little bit too much at times. So by profession, I'm a founding member of an organization we call Circle of Hope, which is an NPC that deals with youth empowerment, not only youth, but people, trying to help people find jobs. For example, we've got people from different industry showing adverts, what's out there, internships, what to study, career guidance, like similar to Malebo, the CVs, when you're going to interview, this is how you dress, this is how you conduct yourself and all those things. That's the side hustle, but the absolute passion of mine. And my day job is I'm a senior manager at Toyota, South Africa, in the quality division for future projects and innovation. So when it comes to my educational background, I'm a bit of the biggest scatterbrain because initial qualification is in engineering, mechanical engineering, but because I refer to myself as a humanist, and I literally, just like how a kid would open up a toy to see how everything works, I'm like that with humans. Like, I'm really fascinated by human beings, what makes people tick and all those things. So because of that curiosity, I went and did my psychology. Then because I'm in the industry, came back to do my MBA. I think I was in the same year as Priya. So I'm from here, manufacturing focus, because again, besides everything else, I really do believe in the manufacturing as the bedrock of any economy, especially in South Africa with where we are right now. And the multiple, obviously it gives birth to all the other industries that we find. And because, again, the human part of me is that it's all good and well that we've done this whole MBA, we understand the business portion of it, we understand the processes, we've learned about 4IR. The people that are going to carry that, we need to know what to do with them. So I'm not sure I'm going to say good of me or bad of me, or I went and enrolled my master's in HR because it's all good. Exactly. So it's all good and well that we know what to do with the business, but we do not know what to do with the workforce of the future. And for me, even though it's not my core function, but as a leader and as a manager, we need to understand, because we cannot have this transactional thing with HR where it's like, this is my job, your job. If we actually understand what to do collectively, because we're all walking into a new era, which none of us know about. So the least I could have done is study a bit of HR so that we tackle this whole human factor in industry together with the HR department. So yeah, I'm a self-proclaimed a lot of things, including chef, including best mom, including my sister's blesser, because yeah, she thinks I'm the rich auntie, which I am not. But all in all, like, that is just me.
Thank you so much for introducing yourself. There's certainly many layers to you. I love the passion for people. I loved your analogy about, how you unpack. I just want to open up the people and see what's going on there. The passion for human behavior and understanding that. And it is, even if we look at COVID and everything going online, thank you for that opportunity for us to get online and still be able to connect. But this human to human interaction will never be replaced. So it's the dynamics of the people that make the key ingredients to the success. Even though the processes and systems are in place, it's the people that drive it forward. So I enjoy your passion. Thank you for sharing with us, Nosihle. Really enjoyed that. I'm going to ask next up to introduce herself to us, Jackie Cameron. Jackie, if you can please unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the audience, please.
Good evening, everyone. So wonderful to be here. And sure, it's just been so phenomenal hearing all of your stories. So thank you so much to all of you for sharing. A very inspiring evening. We all need these. So yeah, I'm Jackie Cameron. I'm the owner of Jackie Cameron School of Food and Wine. And I got the memo that we're only meant to be speaking for 1 minute. So I took it as like a challenge. I put the stopwatch on and I was like, I'm going to do this in 1 minute. So I'm glad I'm getting to the end. But yeah, I'm the owner of Jackie Cameron School of Food and Wine. I'm a wife, a mother of a little baby girl. She's 3 years old. And my chef school is internationally and locally accredited. We were actually the first school in the country that is internationally locally accredited for both food and wine. When I opened, now next year I'm going into my 10th year of having my school, which is just crazy. Been in the industry for 23 years. I'm a chef. I have traveled overseas, I would say like 30 times, over 30 times, for been invited different foodie events, different South African celebrations. Like I always say at home, everything's happened around the dining room, kitchen table, but definitely lots of celebrations around the world. I've only paid for one ticket, I think it is, since I've been going over. So everything for me is about relationships, is about friendships. It's about one thing leading into another thing, leading into another thing. If I go back, let's just say a few years, my first top award, I would say, was when I was 25 years old. And this really did open a hell of a lot of doors for me. And I just say to my students, because we were speaking about, somebody was mentioning earlier about ages. I've got students that are 17 years old, and my oldest student is 55, or has been 55 years old. I'm actually having a discussion with a gentleman next year, and he's in his 70s to come online. So you're never too old to start studying. And I say to my students that are between kind of the 20s to the 30s, definitely for me are the most important years for grounding in the world of work and business. That's been my journey. And often people say, well, why a chef school? And I got to a point of just serving beautiful plates of food was great. It was lovely to serve a beautiful plate of food. But I feel that what got me up in the mornings, what excited me, just kept me, pushing on and getting excited about every day was my staff at that period, was seeing their upliftment, seeing their development, seeing their growth. And that really is what excited me, hence opening my school. And so for me, it's no longer about me winning the awards. It's no longer about any of that. It's about my students going out into the world. I 100% guarantee my students a job. I think I'm the only institution worldwide that does that. After the course, after the 18-month course or the 3-year course, 100% I'll find my students a job. And there's that much need for my students in the country. And so it's now them going out into the world and them winning the awards and making a success of themselves in business. So that's my 1 minute.
Well done, Jackie. Well done. You got the memo right. Thank you. But what's exciting that's new on the horizon for you at Jackie Cameron Chef School? Is there any new exciting projects that you're working on?
Well, I think one of the most exciting ones this year that has been, I've always lived on the school premises, and that's my baby girl in the background. I knew that was it. As I was going to come online, it's bath time and I'm not there. So what's very exciting is I live I always used to, it's my parents' home. So my school is my parents' home. We've transformed it over 10, 12 years into the school. So my baby girl, my husband and I lived upstairs together with about 10 students, I would say, live on the premises, and then also my parents. So it really is a family affair. And recently, at the beginning of this year, we actually moved next door. So we've literally often people are like, is it really next? It's really next door. Like we've taken down the fence, the poles, and we've put a stairway. Like one of my cousins was here earlier today dropping off something, and she was like, well, I like the stairs because it really is, that's the distance between the two houses. But it has been, and if any of my students are watching here, it's just been phenomenal to just be that much separated, like just have a little bit of my own time, our own time, a bit of a family time. So on the business side, there's always the craziness happening. There's always a lot happening, but on just having personal space, I've never had that. I've never, like I said, been in the industry for 23 years. Never had personal space.
Well, enjoy your personal space. Of course, you know, when you said that the minute you go online, that's when your little one's going to come calling for you. I get it. That's why I'm still in the office, because I've got a 4-year-old at home. So I appreciate that. So we're going to let you go so that you can attend to her. And then last but certainly not the least, I would love to ask Captain Londy to introduce herself to our audience and a little bit more about you. Over to you, Captain Londy.
Aloha. I want to say save the best for last, because I've been listening to these amazing stories from all of you ladies, and I'm highly, highly inspired, humbled to say the least, because truly, truly, it's an honor. I am Londy Ngcobo. Some may call me the Black Mermaid. Some call me Captain Londy. I'm a ship navigational officer by profession. I drive ships. I learned how to drive a ship before I could drive a car, and humbly so, I then climbed the ranks until I felt it was time to come back home to Africa. So I came back to Africa and landed the title Africa's first female dredge master. And yes, you can clap. Thank you. But I think just to unpack a little bit of my story, it's just, a humble township girl wanting to chase a dream. And interestingly, it was because I'm a Python. And I said I wanted something unique, and I was only 15 when I decided I'm going to embark on a journey to captain a ship one day. Fast forward, in the headlines, and as most of you ladies, once you reach something, whether you've achieved or become the youngest executive, or you've become the first internationally accredited chef school, Chef Jackie, the noise starts following. And when the noise starts follow, you hit the headlines, the TV screens, media everywhere. And then you start to question, what do I have to say? It's just my story. And I think that's when I started to embrace actually being the Black Mermaid for the younger ones. And when it came, just hitting these big stages, telling my story, your TED Talk, your Forbes Women Africa, and just international awards that were just coming through, a girl came to me and said, Sis Londy, thank you for making it visible. That's when I realized I have work to do. And it just came as purely as that, in that I need to start listening to the dissatisfaction, so that when I continue to be called in these big platforms, I have a solid message, and it is that of impact. I then decided I had planned that I would have a child before age 30, and decided I'm gonna leave the ships. I was 29 then, and I had started working on ships at age 18. So when I left, I decided I would rather be on the land side, and that's when I landed a title of the youngest executive compliance manager for maritime. And when we speak of ocean economy, that's where I fit in the most. A dissatisfaction that came through was that there's only 2% of female participation globally in oceans economy. And yes, I had walked the walk and became the first, but then it became my intention not to be the last. And so I started walking the walk of incline of women participation in oceans economy. And that's where I stand now, having started my consulting firm in oceans economy, women war maritime experts, only working with women and edifying their profiles as such, because it's not that they're not there, they're just not being edified and being held in high regard. I'm 3 years now in the business, and yet again, when all this noise continues to come, I landed a big award from Veuve Clicquot in Reims, Champagne. I have my own vineyard named after Londy Ngcobo, Captain Londy Ngcobo, South Africa. But when you hit the pillow as a woman, you say, it's actually good, it's all and well, and so appreciative, but am I still contributing to the impacts that I want to see for my industry? That's when my foundation, Global Maritime Youth, was established. And I had to, because yet again, there's this African cuteness, and there's a girl that keeps saying, Sis Londy, I want to be like you. Sis Londy, I want to be like you. And so where I have been has been to be so intentional in that when we talk of unemployment rate in South Africa, I need to make sure that I continue to be visible and ensure that people of South Africa, are aware that there's a whole economy in the ocean. And for whatever career you are in, when we want to increase an employment footprint, we need to look into oceans economy, and we need to normalize it as much as we do that of land. So when a child wants to be a ship captain, there's room. When a child wants to be a makeup artist, a chef, a DJ, a mechanical engineer, an electrical engineer, you name it, there's doctors on board ships. So I am the voice of oceans economy, and my company ensures that within the skill supply and demand globally, we need to facilitate that and ensure that people know about oceans economy and that it belongs to us, and that it has fruit, it bears fruits, and there's space for everyone. Yeah, that's where I sit now as the managing director for War Maritime Experts, the Black Mermaid, and founder of Global Maritime Youth. And so long as I'm still here on land, my job is to make sure that everyone sees the oceans economy and the opportunities it bears.
Wow, thank you. That's absolutely amazing. And as a mold breaker, what advice would you give to young ladies that aspire to be future mold breakers like yourself? What do you think is that one bit of magic that they can hold on to in their process of changing the mold for themselves?
Oh, beautiful question. Thanks. I think just dreaming it possible. I think dreaming big, dreaming beyond your dearest diary in your room is what I most certainly still instill in these young girls. For me, I was only 15. There was no swimming pool at home. There was no swimming pool in my school, but I still wanted to be a ship captain. I could barely construct an English sentence, and I could barely swim. But dreaming it possible came with just seeing this pink ship. There was a Barbie pink ship that I saw, and I was thinking, surely there's someone who goes behind this wheel. And it's interesting nowadays because I say, chose not to be Rose from the Titanic, and easily a young girl can say, oh, I want to be Barbie on that ship. I say, I chose not to be Rose from the Titanic. I chose to captain the Titanic. And I followed it through all the way until I've reached my goal. So definitely through and through, dreaming it possible, dreaming big. Yeah, the younger ones are a white canvas, and it is our duty to keep making things visible. So the Black Mermaid is making it visible for the young ones and helping them craft the bigger goals until they reach them.
And while you're on land, you can shine like the lighthouse example for them to see exactly. Thank you very much for sharing your story. It was lovely to meet you, ladies, and hearing everybody's success. Everybody's magnificent in their own right, and that there's so much talent right here on our doorstep in KZN. So thank you for sharing with us your story tonight and joining us here, and to the audience for joining us at KZN Top Business Women. My name is Anneme Coeztee, and that is us for the evening. We look forward to seeing you at the live event next week. Good night, everybody.
Yeah.